You're watching a Marvel movie, the story is working, you're invested, and then a specific character appears on screen, and something inside you just sinks. Not because the plot went wrong, not because the action stopped, but because you know, and from the second they open their mouth, that every scene they're in is about to get worse. These are those characters, the ones that made you physically uncomfortable, the ones you fast-forwarded through on rewatch, the ones where, why are they even here, stopped being a question and became a reflex. John Walker. John Walker is the man the US government chose to replace Steve Rogers as Captain America in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Decorated soldier, confidence, patriotic. He carries the shield like he deserves it. He is arrogant, unstable, and cruel. From his very first press appearance, smiling for cameras, soaking in attention that was never meant for him, something feels wrong. He's performing the role rather than living it. And the more pressure he faces, the worse it gets. Then comes the scene that made audiences genuinely hate him. Walker's partner Namor dies in battle, and Walker, in full Captain America uniform, shield in hand, corners one of the flag smashers in a crowded public square, a man who didn't even kill Namor, and beats him to death on the street while civilians film it on their phones, in broad daylight, in the suit, with the shield. That scene is viscerally horrible to watch, not because it's surprising. The warning signs were always there, because he's wearing Steve Rogers' suit while doing it. The contrast is unbearable. Everything that S.H.I.E.L.D. represented destroyed in 40 seconds of pure ego and uncontrolled rage. Cruel, disrespectful, utterly unforgivable. Namor. Namor is the king of Talokan, an ancient underwater civilization in Wakanda forever. Powerful, proud, winged ankles. He enters the film as one of the MCU's most visually striking new characters. For about 30 minutes, every Namor scene crackles. Then the template locks in and never changes. Someone tries to reason with him. Namor listens for approximately 10 seconds, then threatens to destroy everything. The scene ends. Next scene, identical. There's a moment where Shuri attempts genuine negotiation, trying to prevent a war, find middle ground. Namor responds by threatening to flood the entire surface world. Again, that scene. Then another exactly like it. Then another. By the second half, Namor appearing on screen triggered one involuntary reaction, a quiet internal groan knowing exactly how the conversation would end. Arrogant, immovable, impossible to watch without frustration. Flash Thompson. Flash Thompson is Peter Parker's school bully across the entire MCU Spider-Man trilogy. Rich, obnoxious, obsessed with tearing Peter down at every possible opportunity. He has a podcast. He refers to himself in the third person. He calls Peter Penis Parker, loudly and repeatedly in school hallways. He is insufferable from his very first scene. In Homecoming, Flash shows up at the academic decathlon just to mock Peter in front of everyone. In Far From Home, he spends the entire Europe trip making Peter's life worse while simultaneously being desperate for Spider-Man's attention, completely unaware they're the same person. The irony is obvious. Flash never catches it. The specific scene most audiences remember is Flash going live on Instagram during the final battle in Far From Home, narrating events like a sports commentator while real people are in danger around him. Completely self-absorbed, completely oblivious, treating a genuine crisis as content for his personal brand. Obnoxious doesn't cover it. He's the specific kind of insufferable that makes every scene he appears in feel longer than it actually is. You're watching Spider-Man save the world and Flash Thompson is there making it about himself. Irritating, exhausting, impossible to watch without grinding your teeth. Darcy Lewis. Darcy Lewis is Jane Foster's sarcastic intern. She appears in Thor making dry observations and carrying a taser she uses on Thor himself within minutes of meeting him. Comic relief, harmless in small doses. The problem is Marvel never kept her in small doses. She is relentlessly, exhaustingly disruptive. Every single time a scene builds towards something real, a genuine emotional moment, rising stakes, actual tension, Darcy opens her mouth and deflates it completely with a flat joke or an unnecessary observation. In Thor, The Dark World, Jane and Thor share a moment that actually matters. Darcy interrupts it. In WandaVision, sequences that desperately needed tension to breathe get punctured by Darcy saying something clumsy at exactly the wrong second. Every time the reaction is identical. You're leaning into the scene. Darcy speaks. You lean back out. She's not cruel or evil. She's something worse for a supporting character. She's a disruption machine that fires at the worst possible moments, every single time, without fail. Watching her is like trying to have a serious conversation while someone keeps poking your arm, relentlessly. For 3 projects straight. Trevor Slattery. Trevor Slattery is a bumbling, alcoholic British actor hired to play a terrorist on camera in Iron Man 3. Bathrobe. bathrobe. Slurred speech, completely harmless. He's the man behind the Mandarin mask, except there is no Mandarin. Just Trevor, stumbling around a mansion, barely able to hold a conversation. He is painfully unfunny at the worst possible moment. The Mandarin had been built across trailers as Iron Man's most terrifying threat. Cold voiceovers, brutal explosions on live television. Audiences were genuinely unsettled. Then Tony breaks into the mansion expecting a monster and finds Trevor in the bathroom, startled, holding a bottle, doing accidental impressions. That specific scene, the bathrobe, the confusion, the complete absence of threat, is the moment everything the movie built collapsed instantly, and then Marvel kept him on screen. Scene after scene of Trevor rambling, doing voices, cracking jokes that landed flat while audiences sat there, wanting the actual villain back. Painfully unfunny, deeply irritating, and impossible to fast forward through fast enough. America Chavez. America Chavez is a teenager who can punch through the multiverse in Doctor Strange, in the multiverse of madness. Literally, she creates star-shaped portals with her fists that travel between realities. She's supposed to be the key to everything, the most powerful person in the film. She spends the entire movie being rescued. Scene after scene, America stands frozen while chaos erupts around her. Wanda is hunting her across realities, and America's response is consistently wide eyes and panic. In one sequence, Strange is fighting an entire universe's worth of threats while protecting her, and America watches. In another, she has a direct opportunity to use her powers and freezes completely. The specific frustration peaks in the scene where America finally does use her powers in a meaningful way, and it works instantly, easily without real effort, which makes every previous scene where she stood there helpless feel even more pointless. She's not unlikable because she's cruel or selfish. She's frustrating because the movie tells you she's powerful and then shows you the opposite for 90 minutes straight. Watching her means watching enormous potential do absolutely nothing with itself, repeatedly, across every scene that needed her most. Passive, frustrating, exhausting to root for. Riri Williams. Riri Williams is a teenage engineering genius introduced in Wakanda Forever. She built her own Iron Man-style armor at MIT. She's brilliant, fast-talking, and immediately confident about absolutely everything. She is obnoxious from her very first line. Within minutes of appearing on screen, Riri is cracking jokes in the middle of tense situations, talking over characters the audience actually cares about, and treating every serious moment like an opportunity for a quip. There's a scene early in the film where Shuri is trying to navigate a genuinely dangerous situation, and Riri is talking loudly about herself. The frustration compounds because Wakanda Forever is a film carrying real grief. Chadwick Boseman's absence is felt in every scene. The emotional weight is enormous, and Riri keeps puncturing it. Her armor sequence, the first time she uses it in combat, should feel exciting. Instead, it feels jarring because the movie stops its own emotional momentum to showcase a character audiences haven't been given any reason to invest in yet. Obnoxious, disruptive, introduced at the worst possible moment in the worst possible way. Ralph Bohner. Ralph Bohner is a magically enchanted nobody living next door to Wanda in WandaVision. He bumbles, he stumbles, he exists entirely as a punchline. When Evan Peters, who played Quicksilver in the Fox X-Men films, appeared at Wanda's door, audiences lost their minds. The multiverse felt real. Every scene carried electric tension. Then came the reveal. His name was Ralph Bohner, a random enchanted man, a joke. Watching Peters immediately deflate into a confused, hollow nobody was genuinely unpleasant. Not because it was sad, because it was insulting. He wasn't an accident. He was a trap. Every character on this list made their scene worse the moment they appeared. Not gradually, immediately. You felt it the second they showed up. That specific sinking feeling that the scene you were in was about to be interrupted, wasted, or ruined. And the fact that you remember exactly which moments they destroyed, that's all the proof you need.